This video is a really unique project where I not only installed brand new laminate flooring in an old attic space, but I added a heating element to the floor to keep the temperature in this room comfortable year-round. The end product is not only functional, but it looks great. I also made a video showing how I leveled this floor and prepared it for this project. Okay, let's jump in. The first thing you'll want to do is prepare the subfloor. If you have some type of flooring or carpet already installed, you'll want to tear that out first. This attic had hardwood, plywood, peel and stick laminate, and carpet all piled on top of one another. I don't recommend doing this because it just adds a ton of pointless static load to your floor structure. Because I'm using snap and lock laminate planks over top of a sound and vapor barrier, cleaning just means sweeping or vacuuming up any loose junk on the floor. Also, if you have any trim around your floor, you'll want to remove that as well. It will make it easier to guarantee that you don't end up with seams or gaps between the floor and the wall. If you're putting in floor heating like I did, you'll want to make sure both the underlayment and the laminate tiles are rated to work with an in-floor heating element. This first part is pretty easy. You roll out the underlayment, cut it so that it covers the entire floor, and then tape the pieces together using a roll of underlayment tape. Make sure you roll each piece out in the same direction because they are designed to be taped together on one specific side of the roll. I had to reverse this piece because I put it in wrong. You don't want any large gaps between the underlayment and the wall, but it doesn't need to be perfect either because this will get covered by the laminate tile. You also don't want the underlayment strips to overlap each other, and because the third strip of this underlayment roll was too wide for this room, I cut it lengthwise to fit the room. Now it's time to roll out the heating element over top of the underlayment in exactly the same way. You want to keep the heating element at least a few inches away from each wall, and you don't want it under any furniture or thick carpets you might put on the floor later. This could create a dangerous condition where the heat is unable to radiate and disperse properly. I really like this system because you can cut it with scissors to fit the layout of your room. It also comes with a thermometer. I cut out a slit in the underlayment between the heating strips so that the thermometer sits flush and won't interfere with the laminate planks on top of it. This is used with the thermostat to regulate the temperature of the floor. You'll want a 20 amp circuit available to connect these two. Besides that, it's just like hardwiring anything else like a ceiling fan or a sconce. The thing I like about laminate plank flooring is that it's pretty hard to screw up as long as you use quality tile. The thickness of these tiles is 12 mil, which are nice and sturdy and won't wear down as quickly as the cheaper 4 or 6 mil tiles. Keep a 1/4 inch space between the tiles and the wall, and make sure each one is securely fitted to the ones around it. Because the tiles are staggered where one tile begins at the middle of the tile next to it, you'll need a way of cutting them to fit your room. You can use a miter saw or one of these specialized laminate tile cutters. It gives a nice clean cut, but it's not required, and I think a miter saw will work just fine if you have one. This last part, though, is a bit more artisanal, I would say, which is to install a transition at the door between the two rooms. Now, when I leveled this floor, I increased the height of this side of the room by almost 2 inches, so I need to build a pretty tall transition. For this, I used a normal wood transition, a 1/4 round trim piece, and a piece of plywood. Now, I'm no carpenter at all, but given this is a DIY job, I think this turned out pretty good and is well worth the money I saved by doing it myself. I was able to fit a full piece in that attic door. I've got my transition installed there and over here. I've got a partial piece on 2 pieces of plywood stacked on top of each other. Now the only thing left is to reinstall the old trim. I'm also adding a 1/4 round to the bottom because also as a leftover artifact of my previous project to level this floor, the trim no longer fits perfectly because the geometry of the entire floor has changed. But once it's painted, it'll all blend together perfectly. This is the finished product. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and with the thermal camera, you can clearly see where those heating elements are and how well they are working. Let me know if you liked this video and subscribe for more weird stuff.